Hi there, welcome to another Mr. Carter Science Special. In this video we're going to be looking at 3 viral diseases that you need to have a detailed understanding of for your Biology GCSE course. We're going to be looking at measles, HIV and the tobacco mosaic virus TMV. By the end of this video you'll be able to define the term pathogen, you'll be able to understand how these viral pathogens cause diseases and how they are spread. So we'll look at our first case study, measles. Measles is caused by a virus called the measles virus, and the virus is spread through droplets of water from coughing and sneezing which are inhaled. So this is an example of a pathogen, a disease-causing microbe, that is spread from person to person through the air. So it's an airborne infection. Measles is highly contagious. That means it's very, very easy to spread. The symptoms of measles are that you will get fever and the classic red rash that you can see on this individual here. Measles is a serious disease and it can cause blindness and brain damage in a small percentage of people. If there are complications to the disease of measles, it can be fatal. There's a large number of people that think that measles is a benign disease. It is not. It is a very serious disease. There is no treatment for measles. Infected people are to isolate to prevent the spread of the disease. In 2013, 145,700 people died of measles. 1 in 2,500 to about 1 in 5,000 cases will result in death. 1 in 100 cases will result in hospital admission. But there is an effective vaccine that prevents a person from contracting measles. So in the UK and countries where vaccine uptake is very high, cases of measles fortunately are rare. So the challenge is to ensure that vaccination rates around the world remain high and indeed increase so that measles cannot be spread. We're aiming to achieve a herd immunity in the population so that the measles virus cannot spread from unvaccinated people to unvaccinated people. This will help protect the elderly who have weakened immune systems or newborn babies who again have very weak immune systems. If you look at this particular graph here, where you can see we have the numbers of cases of measles here in green, and on the other side we have the percentage of children that have been vaccinated in red. You can see that there is a clear correlation between the two pieces of information. As the percentage of people that have been vaccinated increases, the number of cases of the disease is decreasing. So vaccination is clearly leading to a decrease in the number of cases of measles, and this comes from World Health Organization data between 1980 and 2009. Our second case study that we're going to look at today is AIDS. AIDS is the name of a disease. It's short for acquired immune deficiency syndrome, and AIDS is caused by a virus. And the virus is called HIV, which stands for human immunodeficiency virus. The virus HIV causes the disease AIDS. Be careful in your exams that you do not confuse the disease and the name of the virus that causes it. The symptoms of AIDS is that the HIV virus will infect and destroy your white blood cells, and this means that the immune system cannot protect the infected person from secondary infections such as tuberculosis. The virus, if you become infected with HIV, can remain dormant for years, but when the immune system is damaged, a patient is described as having AIDS, when their immune system becomes compromised or deficient, and they are now open to having lots and lots of secondary infections because your immune system is unable to cope and fight these secondary pathogens as effectively because the HIV has damaged and destroyed your white blood cells. HIV is correlated with many other diseases like tuberculosis, TB, and HIV is spread by sexual contact and by contaminated blood and bodily fluids. Around 35 million people globally are infected with HIV, and in 2013, 1.5 million people died of HIV-related illnesses. It's interesting to note that HIV rarely kills the patient, but the secondary infections kill the patients very effectively because the HIV has reduced the ability of your immune system to protect you from those secondary infections. So you can get HIV via sex without a condom or passed from the mother to the baby, typically during birth. There's a lot of research going into the placenta at the moment because it seems that the placenta prevents the spread of the HIV virus from the mother's blood into the baby's blood. But during birth or during breastfeeding, the bodily fluids, the blood, the breast milk, which may contain the virus, will often be passed to the newborn child and infect the child from a infected mother. If you're an intravenous drug user, sharing needles to inject drugs, again, is a way that you can get infected with HIV and pass it from one person to another. In rarer cases, you can get HIV from having contaminated blood when you've received a transfusion or organ transplants. However, in most countries, when you donate blood, your blood is screened and checked for a variety of pathogens, including HIV, so that if the blood is infected, it should not be used. However, it's good to be aware that HIV is not transmitted by insect bites, by toilet seats, by kissing. In fact, saliva and the enzymes within saliva seem to destroy the HIV virus and prevent that particular fluid from passing it from person to person. Sharing cutlery, touching, these are not ways that HIV can be transmitted. So HIV is spread by direct sexual contact. It's known as an STD, a sexually transmitted disease, or occasionally known as STI, sexually transmitted infections. So HIV is spread by direct contact and the exchange of bodily fluids such as blood. As we've already mentioned, when drug users share needles or when unscreened blood is used for transfusions, HIV can be passed from person to person. And the HIV can also be passed from mother to child during birth or indeed when breastfeeding the child. There is no cure or vaccine for HIV. So there's no prevention, there's no cure. The spread, though, can be reduced and prevented by using condoms, by not sharing needles, by screening blood donations. HIV positive mothers should not breastfeed their children. They should instead use formula and bottled milk. And regular use of antiretroviral drugs can prevent the development of AIDS for many, many years, giving a HIV positive patient an almost normal life expectancy. The majority of people infected with HIV live in areas such as sub-Saharan Africa, where it's hard to find affordable medical care, to get a quick diagnosis, to get antiretroviral drugs, and to complete the complex and carefully timed daily treatment plan. In fact, if you're on those drugs, there's often a thing called a triple cocktail, whereby to prevent the HIV virus from evolving and adapting to the various drugs, they give 3 different drugs in a carefully regimented plan throughout the day. Now, if you don't have access to watches, to phones, to good medical care, then you can't continue with that treatment. And therefore, in these areas, the life expectancy of somebody with HIV or AIDS is very, very low. In America, in Europe, and in the more developed countries, with the correct treatment plans and antiretroviral drugs, then your life expectancy can be quite high. And in fact, we can delay the onset of AIDS and you can almost live a normal life, as we previously stated. So our final virus that we're going to look at in this video is a virus that infects plants, and it's known as the tobacco mosaic virus, or TMV. TMV is a virus that can affect over 150 different plant species, including the tobacco plant that you can see here. Here is the leaf of the tobacco plant, and tomato plants. TMV causes a distinctive mosaic pattern of discoloration, and you can see that here, these areas of sort of whitening on this leaf, sort of spots or a mosaic pattern, which is areas where the chlorophyll has been destroyed, and therefore the plant cannot photosynthesize in those areas. So it will affect, the TMV virus affects plant growth, and this reduces crop yield. So there's been a large amount of research into the TMV virus, and you can see a diagram of that virus and its structure there, because it affects the economic output of so many economically important plants like tobacco, tomatoes and other crop plants. TMV is spread by physical contact between diseased plant material and healthy plants. Insects may also act as a vector. So again, we've got a sort of a person-to-person kind of spread and an insect vector spread, which causes the virus to move and infect new plants. TMV can also remain in the soil for about 50 years. There is no treatment for TMV. Infected crops must be carefully destroyed so that they don't touch uninfected crops. And farmers can grow TMV resistant varieties of crops if possible. Good field hygiene and good pest control can limit the spread of TMV. So I hope you've enjoyed this video on viral diseases. Let me know in the comment sections below what you've learnt, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you'll get a notification of the next Mr. Carter Specials video when I release it. Thank you very much for watching.